Hello, everyone, to Advanced Grammar from the Islamic University, Gaza, Palestine. Today, I'll be talking about noun clauses, a very important thing to master if you want to improve your English fundamentally, if you want to write well, if you want to uh, uh, vary your sentence and structure sentence type. I'll remind you that we spoke about what a phrase is. We said a phrase is a group of words that doesn't contain a verb, mainly doesn't contain a verb and a subject. Sometimes we could have a subject, but the most significant thing in a phrase is that it is verbless and it is not a sentence. It doesn't stand alone. A phrase in academic writing is grammatically incorrect. For example, in the park, on a rainy day, her grandparents in Palestine. These are all phrases. If you notice, there are no verbs. So you can't just simply write something like this. Uh, he parked his car and then full stop in the park. While he parked his car is grammatically correct, it's a simple sentence, there's a verb, park. If you say in the park, in this structure, after full stop, capital letter, and then this is wrong. Grammatically, it's incorrect. You can fix this by usually attaching phrases to clauses, to sentences with at least one main clause, one main verb. And usually, uh, phrases are significant because they add more specific information. So he parked his car is a little bit loose. You don't know where. You say in the park, you know. You have information about the place. Same thing with on a rainy day. Her grand. I know many non-native speakers, especially Arab speakers of English, usually drop the verb to be because it basically doesn't exist in Arabic. So many students will be saying her grandparents in Palestine. This is wrong. Her grandparents are in Palestine, lived in Palestine, live in Palestine, will be living in Palestine. There must be a verb for this to be correct. That's why notice the examples here, they don't start with a capital letter and they don't end with a full stop because we don't have a main. Again, we said a clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb. For example, he went running in the park. Went is the verb. She visited her grandparents in Palestine. Visited is the verb. Remember that we have two types of clauses. Main clauses, usually known as independent, because they can stand alone, and there are the dependent subordinate clauses. The main clauses contain at least one verb. They contain a subject, naturally. Main clauses can stand alone. There may be a statement, an imperative form, or a question. They are grammatically correct because they can stand alone. So she lives in Gaza. That's an independent clause. Can be a question for where does she live? She lives in Gaza. However, the subordinate clauses or the dependent clauses, they don't form a complete sentence. They can't stand alone, and thus they are grammatically incorrect. A sentence like where Sue lives, this is wrong. Even if you add a question here, where Sue lives, this is wrong. This is not a question. Because remember, in question form, you should use an auxiliary verb or a helping verb. So you could say, where does Sue live? Because after do, does, did, we should have the infinitive. So where does Sue live? This is a main clause. This way, where Sue lives, it doesn't give a full clause. It can't stand alone. Now, most importantly here, a noun clause, like for example, we don't know, look at this example. We don't know where Sue lives. So this where Sue lives is the noun clause we have here. And a noun clause is usually it's actually the dependent clause in a complex sentence. So the example here is a complex sentence because we have two subjects, two verbs connected with a subordinator here, where. It's different from the where does she live? This is a simple sentence. But where Sue lives is the noun clause. It functions here as an object to the verb know. So the main verb is know. The subject is we. The dependent clause is where Sue lives, and the independent clause we don't know. Now, where Sue lives is the noun clause in this sentence. Sometimes, if you're studying English, you need to know that this is a noun clause and this is an adjective clause, this is an adverb clause. If you don't study English, you don't need to know what name to use to describe something as long as you speak correctly and grammatically correctly. In this case, remember, the noun clause where Sue lives is the object, functions as an object, like a noun in any sentence. Like I saw the movie. The movie is object. Now we usually use noun clauses with question words, and you have to be careful in this regard. If you look at these words, where, what, when, who, and again who, many of these words, actually most of them, in word format, in word structure, sorry, question format, they should be followed with the auxiliary verb. You say, where does he live? What did he say? When did he go? Remember, after do, does, did, you have the infinitive. Or you don't have, it's not necessarily the verb to do. Where can I see him? What was he doing? When will he leave? Etc. But in these contexts here, I don't know where she lives. Remember, where she lives is a noun clause. It's the object. You don't use a question format here. There is no question. You're not asking question. You're saying, I just don't know where she lives. لا أعرف أين تسكن. You're not saying where أين تسكن. Where does she live? So notice here, there's no question word, question mark here. If there's no question mark, necessarily there is no auxiliary verb. You don't say, I don't know where does she live. And this is a really, really common mistake. Will be you will be always asked to correct sentences in this regard. If you're doing any exam, the old TOEFL exam, if you're writing an essay, a report for the SAT test or the IELTS or TOEFL, you're speaking, you have to be extra careful here because you can lose marks if you say, for example, I couldn't hear what did she say. So the idea here is that if we use any phrase, any clause before the word, the question itself, we don't use a question format. When I say a question format, where usually the verb to be, the modal verb, the verb to do, the auxiliary verb, the verb to have, they come before the subject. Like again, where does he live? When has she left? What could he do? These are questions. But if you uh, use something, any clause, to ask for explanation, to say something, to make a point, before them, you don't use a question format here. So you say, I don't know what she lives. I couldn't hear what he said. Do you know when they went? And notice here, some of you might say, we have a question mark here in sentence number 3. The question mark is not for when. The question mark is for do, because we have a yes no question here. I don't know who lives here. Sorry for the typo. I don't know who lives here. I wonder who is at the door. And who has a special case? I'm not going to get into more detail here, but it's similar. Look at this one. I don't know who these men are. You don't say who. I don't know who are these men. Note, don't use question word order in a noun clause. Helping verbs does, did, and do are used in questions but not in noun clauses like we just this is significant because many students would say I don't know why did she leave. No, you say why did she leave? That's a question simple sentence. If you say I don't know why she left. Okay. So next, uh, noun clauses can be sub objects like we saw just now. I don't know where she lives. This is object. This is object. This is also object. But they can also be used in as subject, which is interesting. What she said surprised me. Where she lives is a secret. When he was born is a mystery. What she said is the subject of the sentence. Notice a noun clause as a noun clause subject takes a singular verb. If you're using the present perfect, present simple, you use is or has. Okay, we move. Now, sometimes if the clause, the noun clause, does not begin with a question word like when, who, where, why, etc., it's because we have a yes no question. Like if the question is originally, did she leave? Can she play? Was he wrong? These are yes no questions. In this case, you're supposed to use whether or if instead of any question word we just mentioned. So I don't know whether she will come. Originally, this was will she come? So I don't know whether she will come. I don't know if she will come. So whether is usually used in written, and if is usually used in spoken English. I wonder whether he needs help. I wonder if he needs help. So this is the rule we use whether or if in case we don't have when we have a yes no question originally. Before we move to the exercise, notice here sometimes we use or not. This is really interesting. I wonder whether or not she will come. So you could say, I wonder, you could actually say, I wonder whether she will come, and that's it. If you use or not, I don't know if you want to use extra words or something, or to just sound fancy, I wonder whether she will come or not. With if, usually we use or not at the end, but with whether we use it after whether and the end of the clause, the noun clause. And notice the noun clause here, whether, can also be the subject of the sentence. Whether she comes or not, remember, this is all a subject. This can be replaced by it. Whether she comes or not is not unimportant or is not important. So it's like saying it is not important. Now we have an exercise here. Change each question to a noun clause. Number one, how old is your friend Paul? I don't know how old he is. See, you don't say I don't know how is old he or how old is he. Sorry, how old he is. This is like any ordinary sentence where the subject comes before the verb. Where does she live? I am not sure. I am not sure where where she lives. Now, if you're watching this video, you can simply pause and try to give your answer and compare answers. Next, when does the party start? I'll check. Okay, you can pause the video and try to guess. When does the party start? I'll check when the party starts. If we have does, we add s to the verb. If we have did, we turn this verb into past simple. If we have do, we do nothing to this verb. So if the sentence is originally when did the party start, it will be I'll check when the party started. If the sentence is when do parties start, it should be I'll check when parties start. But because here we have does, it should be starts. What time are you leaving? What time are you leaving? I need to ask my roommate what time. Here, you don't know if the roommate is a he or a she. So it's up to you. I need to ask my roommate what time she is leaving or he is leaving. So you, because this is talking to somebody directly, but if you're talking about somebody who's absent, should be what time he is leaving or she is leaving. So you can this is the exercise. This exercise from understanding and using English grammar by Betty Azar, and this whole material is actually based on that book, that wonderful book. You can go to page 249 and do the rest of the exercise. I'll be posting them for you. Now, sometimes you could just simply get rid of the subject verb after the question words and use infinitive. This helps in if you want to create again sentence variety. I don't know what I should do. This is a complex sentence. We have two subjects, we have two verbs. And the noun clause here, what is the subordinate kind of? But this same sentence can be said in other words. There's another word. I don't know what to do. Both are correct. Both basically have the same meaning. Pam can't decide whether she should go or stay home. So whether she should go. Notice again, not whether should she go, because this is not a question. This is a noun clause. A noun clause, you have the verb, the subject always comes before the subject. Pam can't decide whether to go. This is a simple sentence. Please tell me how I can get to the bus station. So how I can get. Notice it's not how can I get. Please tell me how to get to the bus station. You can look at the rest of this interesting thing. Now, a very interesting thing in terms of sentence variety is starting your clauses with that, especially at the beginning of sentences. We'll see this in a bit. Basically, we could say Bob will come. Bob will come. That's a simple sentence. I think that Bob will come is a complex sentence. That Bob will come. This is a noun clause starting with that. And that in this case is optional. You can delete it. In grammar box, you will usually find that in such cases between brackets. I think Bob will come. So because originally we have a deleted that, some beginners might get this confused and think this is the wrong sentence because we have subject verb without a connector. It's actually correct because we have a deleted that. I think Bob will come. In spoken, usually you delete that, and sometimes in written English. So the object of the verb think is the noun clause that starts with that Bob will come. Again, more examples. Jan is happy. Look at these structures, very interesting. Again, Jan is happy that Bob called. The rule here is that person, verb to be, adjective. Jan is happy. Plus that clause. Complex sentence. Or you could go for it, verb to be, adjective, plus noun clause. It's clear Anne likes her new job. Or it's clear that Anne likes her new job. Now you can begin this whole sentence with that in a beautiful way. That Anne likes her new job is clear. That clause here is used as the subject. You can replace it with, again, a very interesting expression here. Don't overuse it. I know people who say the fact that 100 times a day. Don't do it. But it's very tempting, very interesting. The fact Anne likes her job. This whole clause here can be replaced with it as the subject. The fact that Anne likes her new job, the verb is unclear. Or you could say it is a fact that Anne likes her job. So sometimes if beginners would confuse this as, remember I said you can't connect sentence. This is, you can't just simply add clauses next to each other without connecting them. And we said the comma doesn't connect. Some of you might get confused when we delete the subordinator like that here. We'll see later on how we can delete who, how we can delete whom and which in adjectival clauses. So it is a fact Anne likes her job. It is a fact that Anne likes her job. Now, next, we move to talk about quoted speech. Here, I want you to focus basically more on the punctuation. Punctuation marks here where we add them. Look at this. Sentence number one here. She said, when you do this, let me just make this a little bit bigger. Okay. She said, and you should add a comma rather than a colon. A comma is better. My brother is a student. Sorry, this has to be a full stop because then notice the punctuation mark here is inside the quotation marks, the inverted commas. And the comma here is before. Please remember, don't leave space like this before the punctuation mark. It's ugly and it's wrong. Don't leave space like here before punctuation mark. It's wrong. Don't leave space here. Don't leave space here. I know students do this all the time. See how that changed because we left space. So you could say again, no space here. No space here. This is wrong. No space. My brother is a student, comma inside, no space, no space. And then she said, or it could be in the middle of the sentence. My brother, quotation mark, notice again, the comma is inside. She said, another comma is a student, full stop is inside. And this happens even if you quote sentences with, if you quote things with two sentences or more. My brother is a student, stop. He is attending a university. The comma is inside. You close the inverted commas, and then she said, full stop. My brother is a student, she said. Here, because we have originally, we have two sentences, we stop with a full stop here, a period, and you begin a new sentence. And again, notice the punctuation mark is inside. It's almost always the case. Even with a question mark, it's inside, not outside. So she asked, when will you be here? Direct speech. When will you be here? Still. And in these cases, this is important for punctuation. The question mark is inside, and after that, we have a small letter, unless you use a word with a capital letter like the pronoun I or somebody's name. When will you be here? Ali asked, I asked. Because this when will you be here is the object of the sentence. Because originally she asked, she subject, asked verb. When will you be here is a noun clause, quoted speech that functions as an object. Watch out, even with a exclamation mark. She said, watch out. Let's leave again inside. And I love this thing in English. You use this in literature and novels. You see this in short stories, in creative writing. We usually recommend students to change. You don't have to say she said, he said, she said, he said, she said. Almost any verb can be in this speech. In creative writing, these are called speech tags, and they are very interesting. So let's leave, whispered Dave. So you understand how he spoke. Let's leave, whispered Dave. If you say said, it's neutral. You could change whisper to shout. So let's leave, shouted Dave. You have to change the way you read this when you change the verb in the speech tag here. In Arabic, if you translate this, you could say قال هامسا. Please, please help me. Begged the homeless man. So the word big يتوسل. Please help me. If it is shouted or yelled or screamed, should be please help me. Well, Jack began. Look again at the punctuation marks. It's a long story. So began is again replaces the verb said because we understand here that he's going to continue telling his story. Look at this interesting also example at the end. See this suit, whistled the old man to his grandson. So the word whistle doesn't necessarily mean that the old man doesn't actually mean that the old man whistled to his grandson saying. Uh, the thing is that sometimes old men when they speak, the way they speak, they just kind of whistle. So when you translate this, انظر إلى هذه البدلة. قال الرجل العجوز لحفيده بصوت فيه صفير. Something like this. Again, this is another exercise from your book, Understanding and Using English Grammar. Turn the reported speech. When you turn the reported speech into into an indirect speech, the waiter said, "Our order was ready." I'll show you this in a bit before the exercise. I'll go back to the exercise later on. So when we report the speech, okay, I'll move this exercise later here down. Reported speech again. So this is the speech. When we say quoted direct speech, you use the quotation marks, the inverted commas, and the subject and the verb. Somebody said something, asked something, big something, whistled something, whispered something. But we usually report this. Reporting the speech is when you move, you delete the quotation marks, and you change things as necessary. So the world is here. There are two things you need to pay attention to. It depends on the verb itself. Okay. So number one, the world is round. If you want to report this, because this is a fact, it doesn't change. The world is round. The globe, the earth is round. Whatever subject you use, verb you use here, past or present, it's going to remain the same. She said, look at that, can be deleted. The world is round. You don't say she said the world was round because the world doesn't change being round. But in this case, I work at night. Okay, I work at night. Because the verb here says or asks is present simple, you keep it as it is. He says he works at night. And remember, there is a deleted and optional that here. He says that he works at night. Why don't we change work to work, past simple? Because the verb is present simple. In two cases, we don't change the reported speech. We just change the pronouns. He, here, I became he because the speaker is a person, assuming that he's a boy, a guy. If we assume that the speaker is a woman or no, it should be he says, she says, she works at night. So we don't change the tense in the reported speech if it tells us a fact or if the verb we use to report this is present simple. He has said that he works, even look at here, if he says, still the same. When we use he has said, it remains the same because has said is still present. Even when we use the future tense, he will, it will remain the same. Now this is number one. So we don't change the tense in the reported speech if we use present simple, present perfect, or future. We don't change the tense in the reported speech if we are reporting facts, like the world is round. However, if we use a past tense like said, asked, wondered, wanted to know, we change the present to the past, and we change the past to the past perfect, or we keep it as a past simple. I work at night. He said that, remember, there is always this optional deleted that. He said he worked at night, that he worked at night. I am working. He said he was working. I worked can either be he said he worked or he had worked. It's up to you. So the present becomes past. The past can become present, past perfect, or can remain the same as past. I have worked. He said he had worked. This has to be past perfect. I had worked. This remains the same. He said he had worked because there's no tense to take it up. Now look at this, the difference here between immediate reporting and late reporting. Immediate, like you are in the class, the teacher says something, you don't get it, you look at your friend, you ask her or him, what did he say? So what did the teacher just say? I didn't hear him. He said he wants, because this is immediate, this is now. He wants us to read chapter 6. But if you report it later on, look at this example. I didn't go to class yesterday. Did Mr. Jones give any assignments? Yes. He said he wanted us to read chapter 6. And finally, if the direct speech is an order, is an imperative, like leave, open the door, something. She told me to open the door. She told me to leave. She told me to leave. In this case, we use told because it's usually followed with a pronoun. Again, this is the exercise. So your order is ready because the verb is past. You say, the waiter said our order was ready. I am having the special, Mustafa said. Because said is past, Mustafa said he was having the special. We went there for our anniversary, my parents said. My parents said they were. Sorry, sorry. Again, we went there for our anniversary. My parents said they went there for our anniversary. We keep the past simple the same, or we turn it into past perfect. My parents said they had gone there for our anniversary. For their anniversary. Okay, what's wrong with me? So just to repeat, so I don't confuse you here. Because this is past simple. When you report it, you keep it as it is, but you usually change the pronouns to suit the new context, the speakers, or you take it up the past simple. So my parents said they went there for their anniversary, or my parents said they had gone there for their anniversary. You can continue the exercise alone. Reported speech with modals. I can go. Again, it's basically the same. I can go. She said she could go. May either becomes might or remains the same. I must go. Usually people like to say that to consider had to as the past or from must. She said she had to go. Sometimes I hear people say she said she must go. I have to go, had to go, will go, would go, I am going, was going, I should remains the same, ought to remains the same, might remains the same when we report it. Look at this now. We're almost done. The subjunctive cases in noun clauses. This is very, very, very important, especially in American English. Look at this. The teacher demands that we be on time. Now, this is called here we be. It's very strange for many students. We don't say we be. We say we could be, we should be, or we are, or we were. Now, this is basically a subjunctive case or mood in the noun clauses because we use certain verbs and expressions. I'll show you the most common list later on. So the sentence in British English could be the teacher demands that we should be on time. So basically, there is a deleted should here. That's why after in the subjunctive mood case, we use the infinitive because again, we assume that there is a should deleted here. This is very important in American English. I insisted. So the verb demands, the verb. I insisted that he pay. We don't say he pays. If we don't have this, it could be he pays me the money. It's correct. If you say he pay me the money, this is wrong. But here, why don't we say he pays? Remember, after insisted, we have the subjunctive in this noun clause format where we have a should used most often in British English, but not in American English. That's why. And look at the negative. She recommended that she not go. We don't say she doesn't go. Wrong. Because remember, originally, there is what here? There is should that we delete in American English. That she should not go. I think should be clearer in this case. Here, when we use the subjunctive in noun clauses, we stress the urgency, the importance of something. The verb here in the subjunctive noun clauses is basically the base form of the verb. The base form, like be, like play, like study, like go, like visit. Now, the most common verbs that can usually be used in subjunctive noun clauses: advise that, propose, it is essential, ask, recommend, request, imperative, it is imperative, demand, it's important, insist, suggest, it's critical, it is necessary, it is vital. It is vital that she see a doctor, or it is vital that she should see a doctor, but you don't say it is vital that she sees a doctor. Same with every expression and sentence here. Now, I think we're done. Okay, there was something I wanted to highlight. Maybe I was very quick. I didn't pay attention. Anyway, so these are exercises. Again, I took from your book, your wonderful book. And these sentences all contain errors. All you need to do is find the error and fix it in each sentence. I think each sentence has one error. I'll go through them, do some of the exercises, and then I'll stop and leave the rest of the sentences for you to fix. So again, all sentences have errors. And each sentence has one error, only one. At the hotel on the lake where we went for our summer vacation. What's wrong with this? If you look here, at the hotel, this is prepositional phrase, no subject, no verb. On the lake, no subject, no verb. Now, where we went for our summer vacation is a noun clause. Yani subordinate and dependent clause. We don't have a main clause here. I'm sorry, I said there's just one, it's just one error, but sometimes you need to do a lot to fix it. So this sentence is grammatically incorrect because we don't have a main verb. You could say we stayed at the hotel on the lake where we went for our vacation, etc. At the hotel on the lake, you could say, for example, uh, we met where we went for our summer vacation. It just gives me a subject, gives me a verb. Give us a noun, a main clause. I don't know where does she go after work. This is a very common error. It will be in your exams, in your quizzes, in your whatever you do, in your speaking tests, when you do tests, when you talk to people, they usually judge you from this. This is poor English. The thing is that we are used to saying does, did, and do after, when, and where, and why, because we're used to asking questions in this form. But if the question is reported, remember, there's no does, no do. Subject, then verb. So this is wrong. I don't know where she goes after work is the correct. So we delete does, and then this is goes. He didn't understand at all what I did say. It's similar to that. He didn't understand at all what. Remember, we delete did. If okay, again, if we delete does, we add s to the verb. If we delete did, we take the verb to the past simple. If we delete do, we change nothing. So he didn't understand at all what I said. It should be what I said this way. Interesting. Can you ask them whether they need help or not? Can you ask them whether they need help or not? I think this sentence is correct. Maybe I forgot to turn it in, to include an error because it's basically whether, look at this, whether they need help or not is the noun clause. Can you ask them? Ask is the main verb, you is the subject, or can you is the verb, you is the subject. This is a question. This sentence is good. If I want to make it incorrect, for example, say, can can you ask them whether, for example, can you ask them like this? Can you ask them they need help or not? This is wrong. Originally, the sentence is, do they need help? Remember, when you report a sentence that has a yes, no question, you use whether or if. Again, more exercises from the end of the chapter, very significant. Each chapter in your book has a very comprehensive exercise that does that covers everything. You need to focus on this because it's important. Tell the taxi driver, where do you want to go? Tell the taxi driver where again you want to go. No question for. So this is wrong here. My roommate came into the room and asked me, why aren't you in class? I said, I am waiting for a telephone call from my family. Because this is the past simple. My roommate came into my room and asked me why I wasn't in class. Why I wasn't in class. And again, I said, past simple, I said, I was waiting for a telephone call. I'll stop here. Please ask questions if you have, and I'll be posting all these exercises so you can discuss them. If you have a question, always come back to me. Thank you very much. Good luck and see you soon.